Hi, I'm Ioana, and next time Heidi, Ariane, and Bastian. In the past semester, we have developed a website that shows computer-generated pictures in the style of Victory Boogie Woogie, which is yet Mondrian's last and unfinished work. To teach a computer how to replicate Victory Boogie Woogie, must first understand what it entails. And surprise, a lot of the details are recycled from previous work, even though his previous work doesn't look like anything of the Mondrian that we know of today. Some of these elements are bright primary colors, which appear in his Impressionist paintings. Then his Cubism paintings show his affinity for creating order in chaos. Then he established the Deshtil movement, and his composition quite simple, but each of them combined create the iconic Victory Boogie Woogie. Also, Broadway Boogie Woogie that we see here was also closely related to Victory Boogie Woogie and set out as a basis for his final work. Each of these elements give rhythm and chaos give harmony chaos that we perceive first when we see Victory Boogie Woogie. In its essence, it is meant to represent the vibrant lifestyle of New York. Our program is based on Professor Lo M.G. Fee's article, A Program for Victory Boogie Woogie, which showcases a successful attempt of imitating the Boogie Woogie. Professor Fee tried multiple approaches to build this composition, like using regular grids inspired by Mondrian's previous work and then perturbing them, and recursively splitting the planes in its subplanes, or just drawing random triangles. But none of these ideas came close to replicating the essence of Victory Boogie Woogie. The final implementation consists of letting lines and planes compete for the space on the canvas. But Aryan can tell us later about the programming technicalities.
After exploring a few different articles in the Journal of Mathematics and Art, we decided to focus on Victory Boogie Woogie and use p5.js to create a web page, taking inspiration from the original code in processing and showcasing the ideas in a more interactive, user-friendly way. With a mix of mathematicians and computer science in the group, we had a range of experience with coding. As someone who is unfamiliar with Java and JavaScript, I spent a large amount of time using the p5.js site to experiment with JavaScript and understand how we could create elements that interact with each other to create art, with an element of randomness in the process. More experienced group members were able to guide those who were less familiar, which was very helpful. To begin with, we tried splitting the different components between the group and converting the code, with the idea of putting everything together at the end. However, due to the composite structure of the code, this proved difficult and would need a lot of time to debug and ensure everything was coherent, so we ended up writing the code from scratch instead. Once the code was complete, we added a download and pause button to make the site more interactive and enjoyable for users.
Hi, so let's talk about the code. The building block of our whole project is a single class called the cell. All other objects are mutations of the cell object. The cell regulates its own growth and also takes care of how to interact with its neighbors, its children, and its own parents, rendering itself finally on the screen. The root of this recursive tree is called our canvas, where it all begins by setting up various types of cells. These include the horizontal and the vertical lines first that begin drawing, the quad objects having 4 cells within themselves to create the borders of the canvas, a micro object that has a recursive nesting of one level, meaning that there's just one cell inside it, and lastly, mini, which uses fuzzy logic to determine the type and number of cells that are created within itself recursively. The simplest manifestation of the cell object is called the atom, which forms the leaf of our recursive tree by being a simple square. All of these cells are also simultaneously colored in the palette of the Victory Boogie Woogie painting by Piet Mondrian. We make use of the technologies of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and combine it with P5.js to render this website. And we also made use of Git and GitHub to host our project online, with all the code up on GitHub available for everyone to see. Summing it up, that was the art behind the code that generates this art. Yeah.
To conclude, working on the project was quite interesting. The style of implementing the painting with a composite pattern leads to not just a single copy of the Victory Boogie Woogie, but to a wide range of similar canvases. Some of them are much better than others, but all of them include the characteristic Mondrian style. One of those results can you see on the right side of the screen. It's a screenshot of the current version of the website. Even though there are challenges to solve and improvements to make. For example, relative sizes of the patterns for a better experience with bigger screens or mobile phones. More buttons can also be an idea to improve user experience by slowing down the animation, speed it up, or even change the color palette. As the Victory Boogie Woogie was unfinished when Mondrian died, there is much space for interpretation. So, our website, like the real Victory Boogie Woogie, is work in progress, and such as Mondrian removed parts of his painting and added new ones, always trying to improve the result, our work can be described similar. Thank you for your interest and your attention. See you.